In the heart of Africa, near the edge of a vast wildlife reserve, there lived an old man named Daniel Mwangi. He was once a ranger, strong, sharp-eyed, and brave. For over 50 years, he had walked the savannah, protecting the creatures that called it home. The elephants, giraffes, zebras, rhinos, and lions all had felt his care. He was their silent guardian, the man who stood between them and danger. Even after retirement, Daniel stayed close to the land. He was no longer a ranger on patrol, but a friend to those who came after him. Young rangers visited him often. They came to hear his stories, to seek his advice, and to learn the old ways. Daniel's home, a small cottage near the reserve, was a place of quiet wisdom. In his presence, the wild felt a little safer. One evening, the sun dipped low over the plains, painting the sky with streaks of gold and crimson. Daniel sat on his porch, watching the herds move in the distance. His granddaughter, Asha, brought him a cup of tea. She was a nurse at the village hospital, young and gentle, with her grandfather's calm spirit. "You should come inside, Babu," she said softly, but Daniel only smiled. "The sunset is too beautiful," he whispered. That night, as Asha prepared dinner, Daniel felt a sharp pain in his chest. He tried to stand, but his legs gave way. Asha rushed to his side, calling for help. Neighbors came running. A small truck was sent for, and Daniel was carefully lifted and taken to the village hospital. In the hospital, Daniel lay on a narrow bed, his breaths thin and slow. Asha sat by his side, holding his hand. She whispered words of comfort, brushing back his silver hair. Villagers gathered outside, waiting for news. Joseph, Daniel's oldest friend and a fellow ranger, arrived just before midnight. He sat at the foot of the bed, his face lined with sorrow. Together, they waited. Far away across the savannah, a figure stirred. In the moonlight, a great lion rose from his resting place. His mane was thick, though streaked with gray. A long scar ran along his side, a mark of an old wound healed by human hands. His name, given by the rangers, was Kiongozi, the leader. Years ago, when he was just a young lion, Kiongozi had been caught in a poacher's trap. His leg was torn, his body weak. It was Daniel who had found him. It was Daniel who had cut the snare, cleaned the wound, and watched over him as he healed. When Kiongozi was strong enough, Daniel had set him free, but the lion had never forgotten. That night, something in the wind carried a message. The old lion lifted his head and sniffed the air. He felt it, a silence where there should have been a heartbeat. He rose slowly and began to walk. Across the dry riverbed, past the thorn trees, through the whispering grasses, the lion moved. Animals watched him pass. The antelope froze. The baboons fell silent. Even the night birds stilled their song. By dawn, Kiongozi reached the edge of the village. The village woke to the sound of barking dogs. A shape moved at the edge of the huts. Large, golden, unmistakable. A lion. The guards at the hospital tensed. Villagers cried out in alarm. Mothers pulled children into homes. Doors slammed shut. The men gathered, gripping spears and sticks. But the lion did not charge. He did not roar. He walked slowly, calmly toward the hospital gates. Joseph stepped outside, his heart pounding. He recognized the scar, the familiar gate. "Kiongozi," he whispered. He signaled to the guards to lower their rifles. "He's not here to harm us." Inside the hospital, Asha heard the commotion. She looked out the window and saw the crowd parting, saw the great lion moving through the courtyard. Her breath caught in her throat. She turned to Daniel. "Babu," she murmured, "he's here." For the first time in hours, Daniel's eyes fluttered open. A faint smile touched his lips. His fingers twitched in Asha's grasp. "He came," Daniel breathed. Kiongozi reached the hospital door. Joseph opened it, his hands trembling. The lion entered, his heavy paws soft on the cold floor. Inside, the hospital fell silent. Nurses stood frozen. Patients peered from behind curtains. Kiongozi walked to Daniel's bedside. He lowered his head and gazed at the old man. For a long moment, the room held its breath. Daniel's hand lifted slightly from the bed. Asha guided it toward the lion's mane. His fingers brushed the coarse hair, weak but sure. Tears filled Asha's eyes. The village watched from outside. Some whispered prayers, some wept openly. Inside, the lion folded himself onto the floor, resting his massive head near Daniel's side. He closed his eyes. For hours, they remained that way, human and beast, protector and protected. Two old souls, bound by memory, waiting for the final quiet. As night fell, Daniel's breaths grew fainter. Asha leaned close. "We are here, Babu," she whispered. And then softly, like a candle's last flicker, Daniel was gone. The next morning, the village gathered for the funeral. They prepared a simple wooden platform in the courtyard. Daniel's body was laid there, his face calm, as if only sleeping. Asha placed wild flowers at his feet. Joseph stood beside him, his head bowed. For a long while, Kiongozi remained there, as if in prayer. Then, lifting his head, he let out a single, low roar. It echoed across the plains, a sound of grief, of farewell, of something that reached beyond the world of men. Together, the villagers carried Daniel's body to a quiet place near the reserve. It was a grassy field under a large acacia tree, a place Daniel had loved. They dug a simple grave, lined it with stones. Asha placed a small carved marker at the head. It read, "Daniel Mwangi, protector of the wild." As they lowered Daniel into the earth, Kiongozi stood nearby, watching. When the last stone was placed, the lion walked forward once more. He stood at the grave, bowing his head, his body still as stone. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in gold and fire. For a long time, no one moved. In the days that followed, the village mourned. People brought flowers to the grave. Children drew pictures of lions and old rangers. And sometimes, when the sun was low and the light was soft, they saw Kiongozi return. He came alone, slipping through the grass like a memory. He would stand at the grave for a time, silent and still, then disappear back into the wild. Asha continued her work at the hospital. Joseph trained the young rangers. But in the evenings, they would walk to the edge of the reserve where they could see the grasses stretching to the horizon. They would remember Daniel, and they would remember the lion who came to say goodbye. The story of Daniel and Kiongozi became legend. Visitors came to the village to hear it, Children learned it by heart. It was told not just as a tale of a man and a lion, but as a reminder of kindness, of respect for the wild, and of the quiet bond between two souls who met once in the grasslands and never truly parted. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more